All right, folks, let's get airborne. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome aboard the Max Afterburner podcast, sponsored by No Fallen Heroes. Going to take a break from our medicine work, from our foundation work, because I'm going to take a flamethrower. This is going to be a good one. This is going to be a solo Whiz flamethrower, because what an absolutely incredible week of lies, of hypocrisy, of we the people once again bailing out the rich and elite in this country, and it's disgusting. It makes me furious, and it should make you furious too. So if this week your 401k is slowly becoming a 301, a 201, or a 101k, it's not your fault. Well, you know what? Actually, it is a little bit of your fault, because this week I opened up the doors at Top Gun Options for a full week of live trading and trading, Monday through Thursday. I don't give you 52 PowerPoint slides, ask you to buy anything. I say, you know what? Come check out what we're currently doing. I open up the doors and people get to come into our regular members only live trade briefs. And how do we do this week? $20,000 in profitable trades. Now, as of yesterday, I had taken a loss on one trade, but this morning, put a couple trades out there on the S&P 500, and they're looking good right now. So I think 8 winning trades this week and 1 losing trade, for a net of $20,000 in gains and profitable trades that I put out this week. And if you saw what was going on in the market, that's pretty damn cool, isn't it? The S&P was down 1.5%, up 1.5%, down 1.5%. So in one of the most volatile weeks in the market in a couple years, we put up $20,000 in profitable trades. So I can't do any more, right? I'm opening the doors. You get to come in for free. You get to check it out. If you didn't become a member this week, that's on you. But why am I talking about this? Because I love it and I don't. So I like telling people at Top Gun Options, or in general, I'm bipolar, right? I'm Whiz. I'll tell you how I feel as Whiz, and then I'm going to put on my $10,000 Armani and turn into Gordon Gekko. Right. From, the Wall Street, the movie Wall Street. I love making money off the stupidity of others. Boom. But as Whiz, I'm going to tell you, this sucks. This time last week. Okay. So a couple things happened last week, as many of you know. I got to go to Washington, got to be on a panel with Tim Ferriss, Rick Doblin from MAPS, Dr. Matthew Johnson from Johns Hopkins, and then Jesse Gould from Heroic Hearts Foundation, and it was just incredible. I think we posted that on the Top Gun Options YouTube page. You can see my part of the panel. I think I'm at like the 1:11 point, the hour and 11 minute point. I'll try and get that posted on our YouTube channel if it isn't, so you can see my remarks. But around the same time that I was on Capitol Hill, I down, within an 1/8 of a mile of me, or 1/16 of a mile, was Jerome Powell. And Jerome Powell, the Federal Reserve chief, who is currently a firefighter, but is also an arsonist. So the Federal Reserve, at the height of the COVID crisis, quote unquote, the scandemic, the plandemic, he dropped the biggest financial nuke known to humankind, and the market never looked back. But folks, even as a naval aviator who crashes airplanes aboard aircraft carriers, I know how to land a plane safely. I own 2 of my own fighter jets right now, so I pay for the brakes and the tires, so I have to land them nice and gently, because they ain't cheap now. But I said a year and a half ago-ish, I said, stop pumping money into the market, start raising interest rates. You want to land this airplane safely? Stop right now. What happened? Nothing. Jerome Powell kept printing money. The dude sat on a 60-minute interview. The Federal Reserve chairman sat on a 60-minute interview and said, yeah, I make money. I print it on a printers and then I ship it to Federal Reserve banks. And then sometimes I make it digitally. I just kind of open up my laptop and hit enter a couple times, and we make money that way too. Wouldn't it be nice? Can you do that? Do you run your personal business or your home like that? Do you get to just print money out of thin air? Hey, Jerome, I owe some tax money this year. Can you hit enter for Whiz a couple times? Here's what I'm getting at. So we knew this day was coming, unless you're an idiot. You knew that the Fed was going to have to take away the punch bowl. You knew that this was going to cause inflation. You knew that the Fed was going to have to raise interest rates, right? Well, we knew that because we're not an idiot, and we're also not liars. Joe Biden, Janet Yellen, who was the Federal Reserve chief before Jerome Powell, she's now our Treasury Secretary. So Joe Biden, Janet Yellen, and now Jerome Powell lied for the past year and a half to 2 years. What did they tell us about inflation? The first thing is if you did a drinking game, whenever they said the word transitory, you'd be dead. From Jean-Claude Van Damme or whatever her name is, the press secretary, who's don't even get me started. It's transitory. It's it's going down. Transitory. Inflation's transitory. That's all you heard for how 6-8 months. How excuse me, how do you all define transitory? I got a different definition of transitory than you. Then what happened? Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine. It's the Putin price hike. Putin. It's not transitory, it's Putin. In that little beltway of scuzziness, it is kind of a swamp. Zero accountability, zero responsibility. We're not at fault. Then what also happened? We have got to pass the Inflation Reduction Act. Does it reduce inflation? No, it actually causes more inflation. But we're going to call it what it's not. That's what the government does. They label things the exact opposite of what they are. The Affordable Care Act, clearly the exact opposite. The Inflation Reduction Act causes inflation. A Schedule I drug in this country, high risk of addiction and no therapeutic use. That's literally the definition of a cigarette. And alcohol. Psilocybin, ibogaine, ayahuasca, Schedule I drug. Yeah, but it's anti-addictive and it saved my life. It's a felony. It's a crime. It's a Schedule I. Nice job, Washington. So you look at a chart of inflation from when Joe Biden took office until today, and it goes straight up. Yeah, it's come in a little bit, but it's hanging up here. I remember whenever it was, 6-8 months ago, breaking news, inflation is at 40-year highs. The last time inflation was this high, my sister Monica was alive. That's how long ago. You know what I did at Top Gun Options? I'm like, all right, guys, get ready. There's going to be an emergency press conference today. Jerome Powell's going to announce an emergency 1% increase in the Fed's fund rate. It's going to send a message to the market. We got this. We understand you people are burning to death. Groceries, gasoline. You can't make ends meet. We're going to do something about it. Nothing. No, not nothing. They were still pumping money into the market. Ladies and gentlemen, capitalism without failure is Christianity without hell. Now, I don't believe hell exists. We can talk about that offline in my own journey experience. So let's keep going to what happened last week. Jerome Powell said what? Or was it 2 weeks ago at this point? He was near me testifying that I got to do my job. We might even have to raise interest rates higher than what we thought previously to bring inflation down because real Americans they're getting the shit kicked out of them with inflation. I got to do my job. Then what happened? Silicon Valley Bank. It doesn't get any more limousine liberal than a Silicon Valley Bank. The smartest guys and gals in the room, you're telling me at Silicon Valley Bank or Signature Bank in New York. Real quick, remember Barney Frank? Congressman Barney Frank. After the 2008 banking crisis, when we, the people, bailed out Wall Street, Remember that? We even had riots or protests like Occupy Wall Street. We had to bail out Wall Street. We the people. And the same wankers like Bill Ackman, legendary investor, hedge fund Bill Ackman, or Anthony Scaramucci. Mooch. Perfect call sign for the guy. Mooch. We'll get back to these two guys in a little bit. Don't let me forget about Mooch and Ackman. But in 2008, we bailed out Wall Street. And what did Washington do? We cannot have too big to fail anymore. More regulation. Okay. So the dude that actually wrote Dodd-Frank, Senator Chris Dodd, Congressman Barney Frank. The financial reform was called Dodd-Frank, the Dodd-Frank law bill. Guess where Barney Frank went after he retired from Congress? Signature Bank in New York. He sits on the board, made a couple $1 million as being on the board. What happened to Signature Bank a couple days ago? Gone. Out of business. It's a regional bank, took a bunch of crypto shit, which I told you since day one is a Ponzi scheme, and Signature Bank is out of business. The guy that wrote the financial regulations that said this shit can never happen again sat on the board, his bank's gone. So that one bank is gone, Signature Bank, but let's get back to Silicon Valley Bank. What happened a week ago? The smartest people in Silicon Valley Bank, right, apparently didn't know, based on their investments in treasuries, and I'm not going to get into the ones and zero and the booger eating. Let's just say the way they took deposits in and invested those deposits assumed that the Fed wasn't going to be raising interest rates like anytime soon or as fast as they were or as high as they were. Are you fucking stupid? No, I'm not. I'm the chief risk officer. I'm the CEO. I'm the whoever. I make millions of dollars as a bank executive. My 15-year-old daughter can follow this. So if or when the Fed starts raising interest rates, a lot of bad can happen at this bank. No. Or maybe they knew that, and then they knew what was going to happen. Because what was going to happen, happened. And once again, you and I bailed out Wall Street. Let's debrief it. Silicon Valley Bank. Boom. There was a, quote, run on the bank. Good old-fashioned bank run. You ever walk into a bank, folks? I know a lot of people do it on your phones or whatever, but you ever go into a branch? You ever look on the door? There's a little badge, right? Or a placard somewhere in there that says what? This bank is FDIC insured, Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. What does that mean? That means deposits up to $250,000 are guaranteed. If something bad happens in this bank, the FDIC will give you your money back. You're protected. Above 250 grand, it is known to everybody, it's not protected. So maybe you should think about ways to protect. I'm an options trader. I teach people about protecting their portfolios. I fly an ejection seat aircraft, single engine fighter jet, the L-39 Albatross. Hey, maybe I should have an ejection seat in this thing in case the engine fails. I am not an idiot. These people are. So in the Silicon Valley Bank, when they had a bank run, oh my God, we're all going to die. No, we're not. That's not what Bill Ackman said last week. He said, Whiz, the government has 48 hours to act or the financial system will collapse. Didn't they say that the last time? Yeah. And it really didn't. I mean, the sun rose the next day and we figured it out. No, but this time, Bill Ackman tweeted, the government has 48 hours to act or the financial system will collapse. Mooch, same thing. All these limousine liberal, house in the Hamptons, billionaires, multi-millionaires scrambling with their shitty investments, begging for help. These people privatize their profits, don't they? They make a shit pot of money and they make a shit pot of money. But when things go south, they want to socialize the risk. Oh, no, if you don't bail us out, we're all going to burn. Are you fucking kidding me? How dare you? So Joe Biden mumbles McShitty pants, kind of probably reading the room correctly, saying, well, we got to do something, but we can't call it a bailout. So what did they do? And first of all, I heard over last weekend that there was a private buyer. Another bank was going to step in and take over SVB. But I think it was the SEC or FDIC, one of the Democrats in charge, doesn't like bank mergers and blocked it. So instead of letting capitalism work, the government once again steps in to save capitalism. So for all of you listening who are like, capitalism doesn't work, it does when it's allowed to work. The government stepping in to save capitalism is not capitalism. In 2008, if you knew me back then, I was a little chubbier, a lot younger. I ran the Options News Network, ONN.TV. We'd shoot on the floor of the CBOE, the Chicago Board Options Exchange, the CBOT, Chicago Board of Trade. And I said, what? At the height of the financial crisis, let it burn. Let it burn. No, we're not going to die. Shit needs to be able to fail. Everybody doesn't get a trophy. This was right around 2008 and end of cocaine Bush, beginning of Obama, and everybody gets a trophy. Let's bail out Wall Street. People like Ackman and Mooch and all of these other smart money, what were they saying last week? By the way, back in 2008, the taxpayer actually made money on bailing out AIG and Wall Street. What a fucking lie. Bill Ackman and Anthony Scaramucci are lying to you. Now, AIG, for example, we bailed out AIG and the government took stock positions in this, that, and the other thing. And we did get paid back what we bailed out AIG, whatever it was, $180 billion, whatever I'm not going to say we. The United States Treasury made $22 billion bailing out AIG. Let me ask you all a question, because maybe I'm the only person that didn't. Did you get a check in the mail? So when Mooch or Ackman tells you that the taxpayer, quote, made money on bailing out Wall Street in 2008, did you get a fucking check? I can't stand when people talk like this. The United States Treasury made $22 billion. I didn't see a penny. I can't stand when they talk like that. Well, Wall Street paid all that back and with interest, or you made money. No, the fuck we didn't. Not only did I not get a check, we are deeper in debt. Our country is currently $31 trillion. You can't even fathom that number. You know how in debt our country is? Don't give me any of your bullshit that the taxpayer made money on these bailouts. The fuck we did. You made money, Mooch. The taxpayer did not make money, folks. Now, if I were president, everybody would have gotten a check, because maybe this time around, when once again, Ackman, Mooch froth at the mouth that they need to be bailed out, we'd go, we will bail you out again because your capitalism sucks. And here's the terms. Every taxpayer is getting a check for 10 grand. So however it would work, folks. But of course, that didn't happen. Let's get back to Mumbles McShitty Pants when he did his press conference. This is not a taxpayer. The taxpayer is not bailing this out. So let's break down that lie or obfuscation, however you say that word. Who bailed out SVB? The banks are going to bail out SVB. They're going to. They have a big fund and they're going to pay. Ladies and gentlemen, so the taxpayer isn't. Ladies and gentlemen, the last time I checked, banks are not charities. Banks are banks. And they're in it to make money. They don't give money away. They don't have money to give other than who gives them money? We, the people. You deposit money into a bank. So, ladies and gentlemen, your bank having to bail out one of their fellow banks, who's going to pay for that? Say it with me. You. Through higher fees. Not one bank this week got on Fox Business or CNBC and said, you know what? We're not going to pass this on to the consumers. We're going to eat these fees. I know I got a $20 million bonus last year, and I'm going to throw that in the kitty. So my bank, my depositors don't have to. Come on, folks. Pull this leg and it plays jingle bells. There are some banks that charge you money to get your money out. Those bank fees, those transactions, are you kidding me? $3 ATM fee. It's my money. You're telling me that them bailing out one of their buddies, you're not going to pay for it. It's a lie. That's why I'm on fire this week. I can't stand it. Don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. This is, again, why am I in this mood? And I'm still trying to integrate from Costa Rica and the medicine because I'm raw, I'm open, and it's grating on my soul to see the lies and to see people. We have to bail this out or we're all going to die. No, we're not. The sun will rise tomorrow. Something will come from this. This is not capitalism, folks. And I get it. If you hate capitalism, it's because you've really never seen it tried. As opposed to the people who are like, socialism should work here. Because I'm like, yeah, North Korea, you want me to rattle off the countries where, and then they'll go, well, it's not real socialism because it's, okay. So the same argument can be used for the capitalism. We're not doing capitalism in this country, folks. When you can bail out the mooch and Ackman and all these other people and nothing changes. Do you think any behavior is going to change from these bank failures? Nope. We, the people, are getting stuck with it again. This will happen again. What are we going to do about it? So earlier in the week, when capitalism was failing and the government was stepping in, what did the government say? Because some reporters finally did their job. Like, well, if we're guaranteeing, so you all are guaranteeing deposits above 250 grand. So all deposits are going to be bank stopped. That's like $9 trillion in this country. We don't have that. So it's physically impossible to bank stop every deposit in this country. That's why it's called risk. All those limousine liberals who were banking with Silicon Valley Bank, doing all their woke bullshit investing, were running around going, oh my God, if this bank fails, we can't make payroll this week. Fucking tough. The world needs ditch diggers too, Danny. The morning of September 11th, I lost my rich airline job and my career and my healthcare in a blink of an eye. Susie's waiting tables at an Italian restaurant. I'm working 4 jobs to pay the mortgage and the bills. Figure it the fuck out. No. These are limousine liberal Silicon Valley donors to the Democratic Party. Did you see how much Silicon Valley Bank gave to Gavin Newsom's wife or her charity? Wait until you start digging into what Silicon Valley Bank actually does and who they support. Maybe that's why it had to be bailed out, because you don't want to see the books of this company. Did you see the CEO a couple days or whenever it was selling a shitload of shares? You see all the bonuses they pay. It's just, you can't make up how gross this is. Let me get back to this. So the government essentially early last week said every deposit's guaranteed. Did you change the law? Because I'm fairly certain to change or create a new law, I think Congress needs to do something. They need to get with the Senate. They all meet and then send it to the president to get signed. When I was growing up, cartoons were only on like Saturday morning. That was my Saturday morning. How a bill becomes a law. Apparently, government bureaucracies nowadays are just allowed to act and do whatever the fuck they want. Well, now every deposit's insured. We can't. It's physically impossible. But let's run with that for a second. So every deposit in this country is insured now. I think maybe they just said that earlier in the week, so banks really didn't implode, but that would have been fine with me as well because I'm not an idiot. I diversify. I use my brain, but that's okay. So if every deposit is insured and the government has all of us, essentially this week, ladies and gentlemen, they nationalized the banking industry in this country. If we, the people, are backing everything in the financial sector, guess what? Hey, Jamie Dimon. Hey, Gorman. Hey, all you bank CEOs. Guess what? Now that we, the people, are backing all of this, your salary is going to be $75,000 a year to start and 2 weeks vacation. You're hired. If we are socializing all the risk, we are not privatizing your profits anymore. You work for me, you ain't making $20 million a year. Corporate jets, gone. So which one is it, folks? What are we going to do now? In my book, shameless plug, From Sea Level to Sea Level, I told you this was going to happen again. I said in 2008, let it burn. Things have to be able to fail. A phoenix will rise from the ashes and will be better and stronger because of it. Nope. We, the people, bail out Wall Street. They made a shit pot of money. Nobody went to jail. Nobody was held accountable for the financial crisis of 2008. Here we are again. As I sit here on this podcast, the banking index is... the market's imploding. I'm liking this. I like. Yep. So, it's really, and the reason I'm so passionate about this, folks, is because it does feel like another piece of America is dying. America, the land of the free, the home of the brave, the risk takers. Go west, young man. The Donner Party. I mean, folks, so I'm a trader. I'm an investor. I teach people how to trade and invest. What do I teach you? A lot of risk, a lot of reward. A little risk, a little reward. That's how trading works. Man, that trade's pretty risky. Yeah, did you see the potential profit? This one's not that risky. Yeah, duh. And you're not going to make that much money. Is that broken now? Is that over with? Can everybody go to banks now and go, I want to start a crack house. That's my business. I mean, what so again, I'm passionate about this because I feel another piece of this country dying. Could you imagine our founding fathers, how they'd feel about this? People relying on the government for shit like this? They'd be, Benjamin, get the musket, man. This makes no sense to me. Whenever you see a limousine limroll like Mooch or Ackman or any of these hedge fund folks screaming and scrambling that bad shit's going to happen, they mean bad shit's going to happen to them. And their jet, their house in the Hamptons, their big yacht, folks. I've had it. They're turning one of the most pro-capitalist individuals on the planet into a fucking socialist because of them. These people, and I have to hang with people like that in Palm Beach and stuff like that. I have to raise money for my foundation, and they make my skin crawl. Speaking of that, I'm in D.C. trying to beg lawmakers, leaders, to save veterans' lives. Here they are, billions and billions to bail out stupid people who took risk and should have known better. I didn't know the Fed was going to raise interest rates. You're an idiot. I didn't know if interest rates raised, our portfolio would blow up. Oh my God, man. Another quick rant, S&P, Standard & Poor's, and Moody's, rating agencies. Remember in 2008, the rating agencies? Company A, hey, let's go to dinner with the analyst from Moody's or Standard & Poor's. Hey, dude who's going to rate my company, is that an envelope full of cash? Yeah, it is. Then that's yours. What a great company Whiz runs. Remember that shit back in the day? I think Attorney General Holder at the time under Obama was looking into them. He was going to indict some of these rating agencies. So these rating agencies are getting paid by the companies that they rate. And the financial crisis happened. So what happened a couple weeks ago? Moody's, Standard & Poor's did what? They rated Silicon Valley Bank. Everything is fantastic. Great company. Did you see Jim Cramer? The fact that that guy still has a job it's comedy at this point. Jim Cramer a month ago, SVB was, I think, $320. It's at zero now. Famous Jim Cramer moment. Bear Stearns is safe. It's 7 at the height of the financial crisis. Jim Cramer. I put my money in Bear Stearns. It was at $70. I think 3 or 4 days later, it was at zero. When you see Jim Cramer frothing at the mouth like that and then the stock goes to zero, where's his accountability? I could suck more than that. I could be him and suck that bad. I don't. Could you imagine? How do people fail this miserably and still have jobs? Back to the foundation. So billions and billions of dollars bailing out the smartest people in the room. And here I am scrambling to fund a May retreat to Costa Rica. Let that fucking sink in. These people in the Hamptons screaming for bailouts as I'm screaming to get money to save veterans' lives. These veterans, these first responders, their families, they don't have $5,000, $8,000, whatever it is, to go to Costa Rica, to go to Mexico. And the fact that we're going to another country to do this is a disgrace. But here I am in a week where Mumbles McShitty Pants is bailing out Wall Street. Here I am, hat in hand, going to donors like, hey, can you donate some money to sponsor a veteran to save their life? I get a text, I get an email from people come back from their retreats. Whiz, I don't want to kill myself anymore. Do you imagine saving one life? And I know we're doing, I got so many case studies and testimonies from people. That's why I go on. This is why I'm passionate. How dare you? I think I wrote that on Mooch and Ackman's Twitter feeds. I was on fire. I'm like, you people, you're awful. The money that we're throwing around to bail out your bad decisions could heal everybody in this country. We got to make payroll. How about we got to stop that young staff sergeant from putting a fucking bullet in his head in the parking lot of a VA that won't see him? You guys need to do some self-reflection. Simplify. It breaks my heart, folks. But everything happens for a reason. Maybe this another banking crisis had to happen. That's 2 in my lifetime, folks. Both when I was at ground zero in the first one, literally in Chicago, in the Board of Trade, in the SIBO, the VIX, the volatility index at 80, 90, whatever it topped out at that one day. I was there. I'm like Forrest Gump, 9/11, financially. I'm like all these points in history. I'm literally there. And maybe this is why. But I want you to reflect. I doubt Bill Ackman will listen to this, or the Mooch, or Ray Dalio, or any of these folks who last week were frothing at the mouth, demanding that somebody has to come and rescue us. Why don't you all take some of that bailout money? Maybe a thank you, and then maybe you start helping to save some of the folks who served this country, who are suffering horribly, visible and invisible wounds. How about the first responders? The first responders who every day are on the front lines getting yelled at, spit at, defunded. Now Biden. It's Republicans who want to defund the police. And their family members who suffer. How about we bail out the VA? How about we bail out veterans? How about we bail out first responders? How about we bail out family members? If we can heal all of those people, this would be a much better place, man, to live. But instead, as soon as I get done my podcast, I'll go back. I'll trade. I'm making money off of this, folks. I led this podcast with what? I'm going to make money off the stupidity of others, and we are. So that's Gordon Gekko talking. But Whiz talking, this breaks my heart. Capitalism sucks when it's not capitalism. Mr. President, stop bailing this shit out. It's not a bailout, Whiz. The president said we're not bailing. Okay, all right. You're right, because I missed last week when all the banks said, you know what, we're charities now, and we're not gonna pass on the increase in fees to our consumers. We're gonna eat these. Come on, man. Enough. So anyway, folks, interesting week of highs and lows. The low is us eating it again, right? The low is not being thanked by the people that we just bailed out, right? You're welcome, people in Silicon Valley who you got your paycheck this week when you shouldn't have. That's not their fault. Hey, man, wasn't my fault. 15 Saudi Arabians and 4 others flew into the World Trade Centers. Wasn't my fault. Lost my job. You figure it out, man. You're a fucking American. It's in our DNA. You get kicked in the balls, roll around for a little bit, and get the fuck back up and figure it out. I'm sick of it. Not everybody gets a trophy, man. Let's get back to this country being the land of the free and the home of the brave, the land of the risk taker, who after they take risk and it fails doesn't go, wah. You all need to make me whole. Wah. It's awful. I've had it. They're turning Whiz from capitalist to socialist, man, because I'm furious at these people. Haven't seen a dime from any of these massive banks. Where are you, Jamie Dimon, to bail out veterans? Where are you, Gorman? Where Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley? Or all these regional banks that are getting bailed out. You see them putting down the ladder? I know all my sister charities in this space ain't seeing that. That's a whole separate story. I got a lot of shit to talk about some other folks in the space. I'll keep it to myself for a little bit until I don't have to. And then I'm taking a flamethrower to that too. More, or hopefully not more, to come on that. Some of us are actually a non-profit. Some of us actually put money into the foundations we run. Some of us actually have to pay for the retreats since we don't raise enough money. And I'm a man of my word. If I say we're going to do a retreat and you're not going to come out of pocket for it, guess what the fuck happens? We go on a retreat and they don't come out of pocket. It ends up coming out of my pocket. Can't say the same thing for some other folks in the space, and we'll see what happens. Man, if you lead with your heart and your truth, you cannot fail. I've learned that. I've seen it on the medicine. I get it. So you all who know me know that, man, I'm going to lead with my heart and my truth, because that's all there is. That's all I got. Is this soul that I came in here with, and it's perfect. This shell ain't perfect. This shell is a sinner, was a bigger sinner. Still, you're never not a sinner until that last breath, man. When you transition, you don't die. You never die. You transition. But this shell was the one yelling on this podcast today. It's ego, right? I shouldn't be this upset about this stuff. Everything's fine, right? Everything's okay. I'm going to take this week First of all, I'm thrilled that we have all our new Full Throttle members. I'm thrilled that I showed people how they can make money off the stupidity of limousine liberals and the elite when they fail. Whiz is furious about it. Gordon Gekko loves it. I love it. I love this stuff. Keep failing, Mooch, Ackman. Keep needing bailouts because I'm going to pound the shit into the dirt and make money. So I like it. I get it. But this ego that was raging on this podcast today, I actually have to step outside of me a little bit and look at me and go, dude, relax. It's none of this matters in the stream of eternity, which that's all there is. All there is love. I love the Mooch. I love Bill Ackman. I love the people that failed at SVB. I love Joe Biden. I love Janet Yellen. I love Jerome Powell. I love the people in the veterans healing space that they need a lot of love. That's all there is, man. All there is love. But these shells, man, until these shells can be cleaned up, that's my job. That's what I'm trying to do is heal the shells. If we can heal these shells, maybe there wouldn't be bank failures. Maybe there wouldn't be whatevers. I don't know. I got to try. I didn't even rant or ramble this week about, the couple Su-27s over the Black Sea knocking down one of our drones. This is every live trade brief during this week. I always give a little Ukraine brief and I always end with this sentence. And I've been right for over a year. You ready? Here's the sentence. This is going to get worse. This week, Poland, a NATO member, says we're sending them MiG-29s, forcing Joe Biden to do the whole F-16 thing. Do you remember what Joe Biden said back in March when he creepily whispered into the microphone? We're not sending tanks. It would be World War III. 2 months ago, we're sending tanks. Reporters who suck didn't say anything like, Mr. President, in March, you said that would be World War III. You're sending tanks now. Can you explain the contradiction? Not a word. Inside that beltway, whether you're Democrat or Republican, it is the President Eisenhower is doing aileron rolls in his grave. The only general in kind of recent history to win a war for this country. I love people who are like Schwarzkopf. I'm like, did you see Iraq? You're telling me Iraq was a war we won? You can call Operation Desert Storm a success. Operation Iraqi Freedom. Donald Rumsfeld. What a fucking moron, Donald Rumsfeld. We stormed to Baghdad, and what do? We disband the entire police force and all sorts of shit, and it turned into anarchy. We made an insurgency. We lost Operation Iraqi Freedom, folks. So I'll give Schwarzkopf and a little General Powell some love because Desert Storm, success. Why was it a success? Because when Bush Sr., the naval aviator, not the cokehead, Bush Sr. went to General Powell and said, hey, man, get Iraq out of Kuwait. And as he was getting ready to leave the room, General Powell said, whoa, hold on, Mr. President. I can do that. But before I even could think about anything, we're going to talk about victory. What does success look like? When do we leave? I'm a Vietnam era officer, Mr. President, and I'm not. What's victory? Good point, General. Let's just get him out of Kuwait, and that's victory. What happened? We got him out of Kuwait, and what happened in this country? Democrats. We need to storm to Baghdad. Let's kill all these people on the highway of death coming out of Basra. We got them on the run. Nope, stop. We said this is victory. We got it. So technically, I'm going to change that. Not only Eisenhower, our recent general, but I will throw a Schwarzkopf in there and a Powell. But all the other idiots, what's his name? McChrystal, General Mattis, all these other liars, 20 years in Afghanistan, 20 years in Iraq. Everything's great. We just need more money next year. Everything's great. We just need more money. And we left and we lost. But General Eisenhower is doing aileron rolls in his grave because he won a war, the Great War, and became president. And he gave a speech that said what? Be careful, keep an eye on the defense military industrial complex. What did he mean by that? He said, hey man, after the war was over, all these companies that sprung up in America, God bless America, they sprung up, they stood up. Capitalism, we need Jeeps, we need tanks, we need ships, we need submarines. And boom, 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 companies did it. And then peace happened. What did those companies do? Oh, shit, man. We were making a shit pot of money from this war. We can't. What happened? Ooga booga booga, North Korea. Ooh, communism's it's gonna be in San Francisco. It already is. Communism's gonna be in San Francisco. We have to go. And the Korean War happened. Or the police action happened. Well, if we don't stop them in Korea, they'll be in Hawaii next. Didn't happen. Then what happened 10 years after that? Ooga booga booga, Vietnam. LBJ. Well, if we don't stop them commies in Vietnam, they'll be in Laos, Cambodia, they'll be in Hawaii, and then, hell, man, they'll be in Texas. Wrong. The whole bullshit domino theory. If we don't stop them here, they're going to be here. They're using it for Ukraine. Democrats and Republicans. If we don't stop him in Ukraine, he'll steamroll into where? Really? Steamroll how? He ain't even steamrolling through Ukraine. But if we don't stop him here, he's going to steamroll into Poland. No, he isn't. The one thing Biden has done, I'll give him credit for, is what? Hey, man, you step 1 foot in NATO country. Listen to Whiz. I am so anti all this, but I will say this. If he stepped 1 foot in a NATO country, I'd go put my fucking flight suit on and I'd kill Russians. That's not going to happen. Putin's not that much of an idiot. But if Ukraine's NATO, it isn't, even though Kamala cackled that it was a year ago by mistake, then everybody's NATO. If everybody's NATO right now, right? But this bullshit domino theory, like if you don't stop them in Ukraine, how about you stop them, Europe? How come we're footing the bill for all of this stuff in the United States? Did you see the video last week of the invasion? It's every day, but a real invasion. You see the thousands of people that ran across the bridge or tried to run across a bridge in wherever it was. I forget the crossing. Our country, let alone Ukraine, our country is being invaded. Nothing. The Department of Homeland Security, the Secretary of Homeland Security can look into a camera and say what? Our border is secure. Jesus Christ, man. They just lie to you. It's not a bailout. Our border is secure. It's a disgrace. So I should have apologized in advance. I'll apologize at the end. This is a raging ego, and I got work to do. I was trying to integrate from the medicine, and a shitload of stuff's going on from the healing veteran space, which if there needs to be a fight, there's going to be a fight. And I'm going to end it, to this bullshit bailout stuff, to the continuing war in Ukraine. So this week was a little bit of a letdown for me. Not at Top Gun Options. Welcome aboard all our members. Let me look at the market real quick. I love printing money as the market goes down. You could potentially make money as the market goes down, and I proved it this week. Men lie, trades don't. Head to go.topgunoptions.com/FT replay. That stands for full throttle replay. You can watch the 4 live trade briefs from this week. I posted them every day. You can see the trades that we did live. I didn't give just one brief this week where it was 92 PowerPoint slides about how I did in the past, which was fucking awesome. I don't do that. I give you some PowerPoint slides of here's who I am, here's my background, and then let's do it live the rest of the week. I did that. Go take a look at some of my competitors who, if I see them at conferences, are like, dude, why do you're making us look bad type of shit. Well, that's on you. So I'll be back, or I won't be back next week. We're leaving tomorrow to go to Aspen for our annual spring break week, man. I am so looking forward to it. You live at the beach, you visit snow. So going to Aspen, my brother Goose is going to do a couple, the Goose that lived, not the one that died in Top Gun. Goose, former F-16 driver, and just a great options trader. He's an American Airlines captain. He's going to do 2 briefs for me next week. I might check in and do a video or something like that. I'll be trading on chair lists and stuff like that. If you're in the Lifetime group, which is the best thing, the Max Afterburner Lifetime group, you will get. I can be sitting on a chairlift and sending out trades, man, because there's more bad to come. I want good. I want love. I want everything. That's Whiz. Gordon Gekko. I want pain. I want blood in the streets. I want blood in the markets, because when volatility goes up, options trading is fantastic. Again, Whiz, I want peace. I want markets to go up. I want your 401k to be a 801k. But under Mumbles McShitty Pants, Jerome Powell, Janet Yellen, there is more pain coming. And Ukraine, Russia will get worse. And I don't want any of that to happen, but I am going to make money if it does. So I'll be back after Aspen, and we're going to get back on the medicine debriefs. I'm going to take a week in Aspen too, just to try and kind of disconnect from a lot of this stuff too, man. I just can't stand the rich demanding bailouts from us, we the people, and the poor. It's just, it's gross. It's anti-American, and it's wrong. And it's wrong. And stand by for Washington to do what? This time we're going to come up with regulations, and this should never happen again. Nice job, Barney Frank. Anyway, folks, so I hope you enjoyed this flamethrower rant. It was needed. I'm glad. I feel a little bit better. I'm glad I got it off my chest. And like I said, we'll be back with the medicine. I want you to meet our new chief medical officer, Dr. Kristen Rosie Barnes. 700 traps. The lady did 7 deployments. Tomcat, fighter pilot, doctor, underachiever. Clearly, I did 2.5, and I thought that was a lot. And then Aaron, call sign Arrow, another badass fighter pilot, Strike Eagle, F-15 Strike Eagle lady, who did the medicine as well in Costa Rica. And then we're gonna have some good stuff to talk about in May. I think in May I loved Costa Rica. I love Anthony. I love his team down there. They're always going to be needed, but we got to heal Americans in America. I'm tired. I'm tired of going to Mexico. I'm tired of going to Costa Rica. Heal Americans in America. Have a great rest of your day. Have a good week. I'll see you next week. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge. Fights on. Namaste and Basi Basi.